Thanks for clicking on this video, guys. Please stay tuned till the very end for some information and some news on something very special going on January 10th of 2021. Thank you, guys. What's up, geekers, and welcome back to another interview. Today's special guest is a Yu-Gi-Oh phenomenon. We're gonna start that with phenom. What's up, geekers, and welcome back to another interview. Today we got David Creti, Yu-Gi-Oh phenom, and I'll leave it to him to introduce himself even better than that. So it's all yours, David. Go for it.
Hey, thank you, Damiano. So I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for probably about 6 or 7 years now. Ironically enough, 6 or 7 years ago, I would have never actually thought of myself like actually getting to where I am now. It's odd. You always ask kids and like young adults like how they see themselves in like 10 years. And looking back, there's no way I would have seen myself where I am today. Just because like so much has changed. Like I've accepted like so much more kind of like niche kind of nerdy things into my life. Um, I only started watching anime very recently. I only started playing Dungeons and Dragons recently. I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh like 7 years ago casually through a friend, and then like started going more to like local stores, like local tournaments, and then that eventually graduated into traveling like Canada and United States to go to like large scale. They're called YCSs, like large scale, like 1,000 or more person tournaments, where you can like really put your skills to the test. So it's a thing I was never expecting to do, but I'm glad I did. It's a great hobby, and I met a lot of cool people along the way.
Oh, see, I actually love that the way you did your intro right there. You really brought in right away the key concept of what geeking comfortably is all about, which is really being comfortable and letting in and trying out new niches of geek fandom, the geekdoms and everything. Like you said, you mentioned D&D. It's only been a while you're playing, but it's something that even myself back in high school and elementary school, I would never thought myself playing. I heard of it. I was like, it sounds cool. I'm into fantasy, but like like playing it, it's a bit too much. And as time goes, you open up to this type of stuff, and that's what I want people to be able to do. Clearly you embody that well. You're comfortable with the amount of geek you are. You're comfortable with showcasing it. You're proud of it. You go to tournaments globally, and I know you've done well. I've known you for a while, and I've heard your exploits in the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. And it's true. Like, I'll be honest, I remember back in the day when you didn't even used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and I used to play with that mutual friend, and you would just be like, "Oh, yeah, is that what you guys are doing? Cool." And then like the next time I saw you, you're like, "Oh, I'm a professional." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm still here casually playing," but
It,
um,
it's odd actually saying that. Like the term professional is very odd. Like at no point did I like make the distinction between saying like I'm gonna go professional, and it's still odd to hear it like now because realistically, like if you're just traveling around playing tournaments, you'd have to be like a stellar, like to make a real living doing this. So I wouldn't say professional because that would imply I'm doing this for a living. But I definitely say that I perform fairly well at tournaments. I have like a deep understanding of the game. I've played for 7 years, and in reality, when I started, like I was intimidated too. Like there's this massive card pool with no rotation of sets, right? It's not like Magic the Gathering. I'm not sure how Pokemon does it. I think they rotate as well. There's no rotation of sets. There's new cards that are released, but the old cards are always legal unless they're banned. So the card pool is huge, and it's very intimidating for new coming players to see everything and be like, I have no idea what anything does. It's very intimidating at first, but I could definitely say over like the time that I've been playing that I've definitely learned a lot. And with that knowledge and that experience, like you really get a deep
yeah.
appreciation for the game.
Well, and that's what I gotta say. I really gotta give it to you on that part because, like, let's say for me, the last time I really played seriously was purely when evolutions were around. Like that was my pinnacle. It was Yu-Gi-Oh GX. I was running my Gravekeeper deck, and it was whatever. And even that at that point, Gravekeepers didn't really have evolutions in their deck. It was one of the few decks that still weren't running major evolutions. I think it had like one key evolution for the whole deck, and that's about it. It was mostly running around the magma golem and back in the day, sarcophagus of the pharaoh, temple of the sarcophagus that got banned, and this my scorpion guy that I can't remember his name that also got banned. So, like my whole deck got like completely banned. In like one turn, it got irrelevant, and that's when I just decided to stop playing. But I did jump back in casually in college, and I was actually introduced to XYZs before I was introduced to Synchros, even though introduction wise into the world of Yu-Gi-Oh was the opposite.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can definitely kind of jump around. Like it depends what time period you jump into Yu-Gi-Oh, but it seems to follow this trend of every, I think it's 2 to 3 years, they come out with a new summoning mechanic to kind of like spice up the game. Literally every time it happens, people are kind of disappointed just because it's like, oh my god, you added this new thing just to sell product and just to make money. But at the end of the day, like it takes a couple of weeks and pretty much everyone adapts. Like the new cards end up like bringing a fresh new like light to the game. It feels a lot cooler to play. It just adds some like freshness. And like, yeah, there's still some people who crave old school Yu-Gi-Oh, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for the newer players or the standard players, if you want to call it that, or the modern players, um, it adds a fresh cut like taste to it every couple of years.
okay, so this is where I'm gonna be lost, and where I'm gonna need you to go a bit more on details. So, I know that they have the pendulum that came out about 8 years ago now, if I'm not mistaken. Almost around the same time you started, or a bit after.
I believe Pendulum was maybe 6 years
6 years
ago.
ago. Okay, so I.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the anime and I was like, oh my god, like this is like way off. Like this kid's writing a clown hippo, and like the anime completely turned me off.
it was in 2014. Yeah, so
2014. Okay, so
six
6 years
six
ago,
years ago.
perfect.
Yeah.
And that's it. So then I was like, okay, Pendulum seems a bit intense. Then I know they came out with Link. Then the other day I was at my card shop and I also saw something called Quick Link or Quick Duel cards, which is like a new way of playing the game apparently, which I had no
Yeah,
idea
that's
about.
they're I think they're called rush duels. It's not it's different though. Like it's a whole
It's
different
not
game.
okay.
It's not
It's not part
yeah.
of it. Okay,
The
perfect.
cards that are in there aren't for regular Yu-Gi-Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so now what's Link? It's the ones with all the arrows on it, right?
So yeah, so the last one before Link was the pendulum mechanic where you would have like these cards that were monsters that were also half spells. So you would put them in the spell trap zone and then you would pendulum summon them. Then they added this new iteration of these blue cards called links, which essentially have arrows. And they added a new monster zone called the extra monster zone to the field. Where essentially you're gonna put your link monster, it has to go in an extra monster zone, and they have arrows. So the arrows point down, up, middle, left, right, like it could be anything. Um, and essentially, the way it works is when you summon a link monster, it has to go to either the extra monster zone or a zone a link monster points to. So the whole idea is if you're doing a link spam deck where there's going to be a lot of them that you're using, you're going to need to have the right arrows pointing on your board. Generally, there's been so many released since the beginning that there's no issue with that. Like people are very used to the combos and how things kind of
Okay.
flow. It's just a question of understanding really how they work.
And in your deck, I'm guessing you run yourself some links.
In my deck, I run a couple. Yeah, I
A
made like
couple.
only a handful, but it mostly focuses on XYZ, the one that I'm playing right
Okay.
now.
And XYZ still relevant? Like I said, XYZ synchros. I know fusions are a bit less relevant, but they try to give them good effects to keep them relevant. But like XYZs and synchros were already relatively like overpowered at the time because of their effects and stuff. Are they still relevant in game or?
Right now, pretty much every summoning mechanic is relevant. I'd say save for pendulums. Pendulums are okay. Like they're definitely not bad. But in terms of like overall use, like pendulum, you have to build a pure pendulum deck. For things like fusion, XYZ, and synchro, you can mix them in with other cards.
Okay.
There was this release of a card called Needle Fiber. Um, I can pull it up on the screen, but it's basically it gave support to synchro monsters through links. So when this guy is summoned, which is a very easy summoning mechanic, you just need a non-tuner and a tuner monster, which you would generally need for a synchro summon, to make this link monster. And the link monster is effective when he's summoned is he summons a tuner from your deck. So the whole idea is that it synergizes with the synchro archetype. So you're using links in conjunction with the synchros, right?
Okay.
So the whole idea is you're mixing them together. But they've definitely released new support for fusions for XYZs. Doesn't bring them to the spotlight, but it definitely gives them some viable support that puts them
Okay.
relevant in
See,
the
because
meta.
that's important for me to know because like I got some good ones here. Like I mean, like I've got just the most powerful fusion monster of all time. You know, it's like I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Five-Headed Dragon. Like, is he still relevant or like do
Uh,
I just get rid of
mm,
him at this point? You know?
I mean, in all honesty, there is one deck that plays it, but it doesn't play him to summon him. It plays him for to use as a ritual fodder. Like you send it to the graveyard to ritual summon some monsters.
And I'm hoping
Um,
this monster is much stronger than 5,000. 5,000 if I'm sending a.
no, it's much weaker.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
Okay, what about this
but
guy? He's a synchro. Is he still viable? Because like I mean, this was pretty much the strongest card in existence when I stopped playing. It's called Star Eater, and he
no,
just
that card's irrelevant.
is it banned or just irrelevant?
It's just irrelevant. It doesn't do
Really?
anything. Yeah.
Because he can't like get destroyed, right? Damn. Well,
Yeah, most cards can't be destroyed anymore.
well, guys, there goes my deck. So, see this right here? No, I'm joking. I'm not gonna throw that out. I've invested
No, you
money on
never
that.
know. But that's the beauty of Yu-Gi-Oh, and it goes back to what I was saying about it. All the cards being legal at the same time. Your cards that are 15, 20 years old could randomly one day be worth hundreds of dollars because they might release some random little support card that had some interaction with a card that's 20 years old that made it busted. For
Yeah.
example, there's this card called Smoke Grenade of the Thief. It's I think like 18 years old. It was a terrible card that like used to be like niche to like it basically when it's an equip card that when it's destroyed you look at your opponent's hand and discard a card,
Okay.
which is not that good like realistically, but they made a deck now that focuses around equip cards, and at the end of the turn you can equip from your graveyard and then destroy a card on the field. So you equip it, destroy it, and then loop a card out of your opponent's hand. So they found a way to abuse the card to the point where before it was like weird niche and okay, now it's like really broken, like it
Yeah,
can
like
they
it's
do it
like
every
you know
time.
it's gonna be banned within the next list coming out almost.
I don't know that it's going to be banned. I would say most likely it's
Okay.
kind of an unfair card, but it definitely brought its way into the spotlight out of nowhere, right?
Okay, okay. So that makes sense. So all in all, Yu-Gi-Oh has changed over the last 6 years that you've been playing. So for those that have been playing much longer, I can't even imagine. Those that like me that stopped and came back in, it's a whole new ball game. On the TCG format though of it, so more for collectors. I know some people. I have a friend that actually met me at Three Dragons to look into buying some cards, and he bought a few boxes, but right now, what's the packs that people should be looking out for? What box sets or packs that you know there's a card in there that can gain value, that is valuable right now, that's worth it for those that don't want to play as much, but just more be part of the community of collecting.
Truth be told, I honestly don't have an
Okay.
answer for you. I love the game. I don't buy packs. Like if I get some out of my local card store, I'll just take whatever's like the most recent one. Like I could tell you the last like set was pretty good. I don't remember what it's called.
Okay.
But frankly, I've kind of fallen out of touch with Yu-Gi-Oh, both because I'm very busy and because it like with the pandemic, I haven't been allowed to go to a card store in over 2 months. So like I'm getting less involved in the community. I still play online, but that has nothing to do with the packs and the relevant cards. It's just I've been distanced from it, like with the whole pandemic again.
Forcefully
Um,
distanced.
yeah, socially distanced from the game
Yeah.
in reality.
There you go.
But we'll see when it comes back. But in general, I would always say like buy the most recent structure deck if you're looking to start. A good way to start is always to take a look at what structure decks are offered, and generally the way they format them is structure decks are pre-made decks of 40 cards. Not the best cards, but definitely relevant cards, and they have one copy of every card in the deck. Usually what ends up happening is in those decks you need 3 copies because you can have up to 3 copies of a monster spell or
Yeah.
trap that's good, and most of the time if there's a good one you're going to want 3, so you would have to buy 3 of the structure decks. They run you about like $15 each, so it'll come up to about like 45, $50. And then with that, you would have a full deck. You would be able to take 3 of the best cards, put them together. You take out some of the bad cards they gave you, and then you pretty much make yourself a starter deck. And most of the time, they're actually relevant. Like the starter decks they sell you, like they're relevant cards. Like they're
Yeah.
not the best, but
You're
they
not
can definitely get you started.
you're not elite competition level, but you're able to at least play and keep up with those that are playing more regularly.
Yeah, I teach grade 5 right now, and some of my kids are actually interested in Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's what I tell them the same thing. So they're kind of like learning how the game works. And again, like the way you're describing how intimidating it is, it's the same thing for these 10-year-olds, right? They've never seen any cards, and they're just kind of collecting them and seeing them and learning how things go with time, and you pretty
Okay.
much learn as you go.
So that's actually really good to know. Now I don't want to like you are the like I said for me the Yu-Gi-Oh connoisseur of all the people we know. You are the most advanced one I know, but outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, like you had said, you had just recently started D&D, and you had started getting into anime. So we're gonna quickly touch upon some of those. When it comes to D&D, what's your what is it about it? What do you like about it? What is it that gets you involved? Is it
Well, D&D for me lets me live a double life, right? Kind of like Clark Kent and Superman or Bruce Wayne and Batman. Not to say that I'm Batman, but you get to
But you're
live
definitely Bruce Wayne.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea is that like I have this a double life that every whatever Wednesday night or every Monday night, whenever it is that we get together, I get to like shed my like normal like life. I don't have to think about like school. I don't have to think about work. I don't have to think about problems. I just go to my friend's house. I gather with some of my close friends. We share a couple of snacks. We share some thoughts, some laughs, and we immerse ourselves into this world. Like it's not a video game. Like it's a world that you're creating like together. You're telling a story. So I found that super appealing. You get to live these lives, right? So like if you want to be like a stealthy rogue or a dangerous bad guy villain, if you want to be a heroic champion, whatever it might be, you can kind of dabble in those experiences. You can change your voice up, how your character would react, and like the reality is, if you do it once. Sure, maybe it's a little weird. Do it twice, three times. By the time you start doing this, like multiple times, you spend hours and hours and hours living out this life. Like it fleshes out an idea. Like your character comes to life. There's sustenance to what is happening there at the D&D table, and that's pretty much what brought me to it.
Nice. And what character have you been playing the most? Like, what's your go to, or your, if you've been on like in a long term campaign, the one that you stick to the most, really?
Well, the longest one is Justin's. He's the DM for our group. We're six. We used to be seven. Things kind of happen along the way. We're at episode 99 right now, going on episode 100. We were stopped multiple times because of the pandemic, and we're still anticipating this great episode 100. But it just marks like this epic milestone, like 100 episodes, roughly 4 hours each, like 400 hours living this life as my character's name is Serpenthor. He's a wood elf druid who's now level, I believe, 10, and he's come a long way, like from these beginnings in this village with his wife and son, to getting ravaged by this necromancer who essentially like brings flames and death to my village, and kills my wife, and then later on ends up killing my son as well. I end up fleeing and eventually dying. And the campaign started there, where I was brought to this purgatory, and I had met these other interesting people who have also died on their journeys, and were given this ultimatum basically from what I would only describe as some kind of a god, who basically says, I can give you back your soul if you do certain tasks for me, you go on certain missions for me, and I am granted a pass, if you will, to enter the realm of the living and like live this like secret lifestyle, right? Like I have this deep secret that I'm actually like trying to win my soul back, but my character is also this honest and good and caring like druid who tries to help the people around him and grow his community and spread like kind of information and kind of make connections. And truth be told, he's kind of like the voice of reason to his party of kind of misfits and bandits, if you will.
Perfect, makes sense. So at the end of the day, for you, D&D really is an escape. It's a good way to get out. It's a good way to showcase your inner passions and put everything that's going on in the world and just cast it aside, which is amazing to hear. And it's always fun to see when people do it. And I'm hoping that once everything gets done, the pandemic, even we can play a few games together. I know I've jumped in on one of the campaigns that you were in as well as a guest character once in a while. So definitely would love to be jumping in on that. Moving on a bit from D&D, you also mentioned that you just got into anime a bit. So, uh, I already did a lot of anime with Justin, with Justino. So quickly, just a quick recap. What have you been recently that really dragged you into anime? What's the newest ones that caught your attention and that you really hold on to right now?
Newest, like recently that I've been
Yeah,
watching.
recently, not newest release, just something recently that's caught you that you think is a good watch or must watch for people, even if it's something that's very old or common or
Well, I know Vinland Saga. It's a little bit old. I think it's like 1 or 2 years.
okay.
Vinland Saga is like this Viking anime. Fantastic story. Not too many episodes, and I'm still anticipating season two. But definitely like a really like seat clenching like action anime that doesn't kind of follow the main storyline of kind of most shonens. It kind of does, but the first like it really takes you on like an adventure in the first
Okay.
couple of episodes. And I know recently there was also Tower of God. That caught my eye mostly because when I compare it to Hunter x Hunter, one of my like personal favorites. I wouldn't say it's the best anime of all time, but I think it's definitely up there for me on like what makes up a good anime. I saw Tower of God, and it was the only anime that I've ever really compared to Hunter x Hunter in the sense of it kind of follows the same theme of like these trials at the beginning of the show, and I think it has a lot of potential based on the way it's been going so far. Again,
Okay,
only one season,
very
but it
cool.
definitely caught my attention.
So see that's what I like about always hearing about different people, right? So especially when you're newer to the anime, a lot of people do end up jumping always on the shonens. But right now, like you said, Vinland Saga is not a straightforward shonen. It's Vikings. It actually probably I'm gonna watch it, guys, and talk about it. Especially since I'm doing the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it might actually be a good anime to watch as well, and like make some connections there. And then Tower of God, less shonen, more isekai. Right? Because it is a different world, if I'm not mistaken. Tower of God. It would fall under isekai, or
I that I wouldn't know.
is it a different world, or it's like a fantasy world, or does someone go into a different world to
No,
start his
it's a
adventure?
fantasy. It's
It's
it's a
fantasy.
fantasy
It's
world.
fantasy. Okay, so then
Yeah.
it wouldn't fall under isekai then. So and it's what's nice is always different stuff like that. Obviously, actually, I think it does. No, it does fall under isekai because they go in a tower, right? And it's a different.
Yeah.
And inside the
It
tower is a different world.
yeah, like there's floors to the
Okay,
tower,
so
but each floor is
yeah.
like infinitely large and
It's
things
kind
like
of like an
that.
isekai. Okay, so a bit like Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon or Sword Art Online, where all
Yeah,
these things
yeah, I would
are
say that.
yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like a semi isekai. So definitely another one I saw. It's on my queue in Crunchyroll. Definitely something to check out as well. So there you have it, guys. So first of all, first and foremost, like I said, David is probably the best Yu-Gi-Oh player I know right now. And to say honestly that when I first met him, I used to wipe the table with him because he didn't used to play, so it was easy. He would sit down without a deck, and I'd say I win, and it was easy. And like I said, literally, I think when he started playing, we went to a card shop with a few friends. He was looking at his play. He said, "I'm gonna try," and literally the next time I saw him 2 months later, he was like eons ahead of me, and I was like, What just happened?" But
Humble
I'll
beginnings.
be honest, I haven't changed this deck since college. So
That's
since
okay.
since
There's
this
never
is
a bad time to
this is
start.
like over a 9-year old deck, and it's literally a mismatched deck of cards. I mean, like if I pull out some of the cards in here, like I have like the legendary God card. I have like just super random. There we go. Oh, there we go. Slifer. That's my legendary God card I run in this deck. You know how many times that he's actually useful? Never. He's never useful. But how many people in tournaments say, "Hey, I went up against a Slifer."
Not many. There was actually a pro player who did that a couple years ago. Who there was this card that came out that lets you special summon a monster with the same level as one on your field from your deck,
Oh my
or the
god.
same type. The same type. It was the same type. So because they're like divine, this guy was challenged if he plays the three Egyptian god cards in his deck, if he could win, and he won a regionals with a deck with the three Egyptian god cards in it. Like just as a meme, he was
That's
so
good.
good that he won a
That's
tournament with
pretty
that.
good. That's impressive. That's something that like I wish I can get to that level of goodness. Like right now I've been working a lot on Pokemon TCG actually.
Mhm.
I've been playing online a lot, and I'm always getting to about like a 10 to 11 win streak, and then like I'll get a bad luck loss or a guy that just has a deck that perfectly counters mine. But I it's making me think of maybe going to try a professional TCG once everything opens up again in Pokemon though, and try
I, I
to
I
advance in
definitely
those
think Pokemon.
competitions.
I definitely think Pokemon's worth playing. I don't know much about how to play. I just know that a lot of people who play Yu-Gi-Oh also play Pokemon because there's more prize support and the tournaments are generally bigger and better. So I would definitely like say that's a good idea based off of what I've heard from people in like the card playing community.
Well,
That
maybe
is.
we can get into it together when everything opens up again. Me and you taking over the TCG world.
Yep. When things open up, I'd take on a lot of things.
All right, well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interview with Mr. Credi. If ever you have any questions for him regarding Yu-Gi-Oh, you can send them to me directly at Instagram. If not, if he wants to tell you guys where you can reach him at, he's more than willing to set it up right now. If not, they'll reach me and I'll send it to you.
Well, I don't have YouTube or anything,
Perfect.
but I would
So
send it to you.
So send me guys any questions you have for Credi. If you guys say, "Hey, I got a big question about Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm trying to get in," send me the full question. I'll copy paste it to him. If not, what I'll do is I'll throw in Credi into my Discord channel. Into my Discord server. I'll create a channel literally under Yu-Gi-Oh! And he will literally just be in charge of that channel. And if ever people have questions, they post it there, and he'll answer when he can. He's very busy man. He's got a new job starting literally this year, right?
Yep,
So
pretty much.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And there's so much more that's gonna be going on, guys. The other thing, obviously, we had discussed once everything opens up, we're gonna try to be able to see each other again. What I'd like to do for all the viewers that are watching is when everything opens up, I'm gonna do a giant either recording or stream, but most likely just a giant recording of basically what it looks like when a bunch of geeks between the ages of 23 and 30 years old just get together and hang out and just see the shenanigans that go on. It will be somewhat PG, probably a bit less PG though. So probably you'll have to be what is it on YouTube? 14 and older, I think, or 16 and older, without parental guidance to watch. But you're gonna watch us most likely playing Yu-Gi-Oh, most likely definitely playing D&D. That's usually what we end up doing now, even when we hang out and go to colleges. It's a game of D&D, some Smash Bros, and cards, and that's about it. So, at the end of the day, guys, be comfortable in who you are. Be a geek. Don't be scared to share it. Um, I always want to leave the last message to my interviewee. So, David, do you have anything to add in regards to being a geek, being proud of who you are, or just trying new things for anyone watching right now?
I would definitely say embrace like change, embrace who you are. If somebody presents you this game or this something that you would deem like young or nerdy or something that's not your style, like before dismissing it right away, like I and I'm sure a lot of people did, definitely try it. Like the there's no pain or there's nothing wrong with just trying something, right? If you watch a couple of animes and you don't like it, that's fine. But at least give it a shot, right? Don't dismiss things just because you don't understand them. Like give it a shot, and then if you actually do end up enjoying it, you might find new friends or a new hobby that actually might change your life.
Perfect. Well, that was really well said. Thank you. Glad to have you here and Geeking Comfortably, and hopefully we're gonna have you again, especially once the pandemic's done and you're back to some tournaments in Yu-Gi-Oh. Then we can come up with some. You can come back in with some news, how it's going, what to expect, the changes in the rulings, and everything. So once again, thank you guys. Don't forget to check out right here down below. Sorry, this side the Twitch. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch and check out my weekly streams where we do Wednesdays and Fridays, either Assassin's Creed and Pokemon Sword, and Sundays where we do some pack openings, usually Pokemon, but maybe with Black Friday deals going on right now, I might pick up a box of Yu Gi Oh cards just to have some fun with that and see what I pull. And most likely, just do a massive giveaway on everything I pull from that pack. So because I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. So I'm not gonna. I'm trying to get sell some of my older cards too. So even at that, credit if you know anybody, let me know. I'm looking to offhand quite a bit of cards. Some really good condition ones and some relatively like rare. I'm assuming rare because I kept them from back in the day when I used to play. So
I can definitely put you in contact with some people who might be able to kind of help you out.
perfect. And with that, thank you very much, and
Thank you.
take care, guys, and enjoy the rest of your days, evenings, and nights, depending what time you're watching this video at. What an interview, Mr. Creti. Thank you. You are a legend in the dueling championship world, a legend in Duel Monsters, and a god in Yu Gi Oh! Thank you for gracing us with your time for that interview, and I apologize for the long delay. Now, for all of you guys that watch, whether you be Yu Gi Oh fans, Pokemon fans, Magic the Gathering fans, or even any type of geek fan, whether it be video games, card games, tabletop games, thank you for watching the video. And thank you for staying to the end because there is a special announcement. On January 10th, 2021, I am hosting a box break. Among other things are these packs right here: Vivid Voltage, an Unbroken Bonds. We got Zamazenta and Zacian Elite Trainer boxes. If you participate in the box break, you also have a chance of winning a Zamazenta or Zacian gold promo card. Now, these are very nice cards, and there is going to be one of each being drawn and given away on January 10th of 2021, which is Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you for everyone that stayed till the end of the video to hear this news. Thank you, geekers. Keep on geeking. Don't forget that today and tomorrow is your last days for Black Friday deals, or sorry, slash Boxing Day deals, 20% off. Use code BLK20DAY, all capitals, and it's also going to be in the link in the description below, as well as the link to the Teespring, so you can use the code and the link to the box break. Guys, happy holidays, happy new year, and we'll see each other all in the new year.